Hey, it's Chris. Prepare yourself to be amazed because today we're going to unravel the wonders of Apple's brand new Action button. And just a reminder before we get into it, my brand new course, Learning to Build a Successful Side Hustle, is out right now. More on that later. Now, just as predicted, the 15 Pro models did get rid of the old mute switch on the side of the iPhone and replaced it with an Action button, which actually doesn't look anything like the Action button on the Apple Watch Ultra. But like the Action button on the Ultra, you can customize it for quick access to several different features, as you can see. And actually, it'll still stick your iPhone into silent mode if you needed to. It's just that it does more than just that. So you can do things like stick it into focus mode or activate the flashlight, record a voice memo. But the two things most users are likely to be the most interested in, I think, quick access to the camera without having to mess around with the shortcut on the lock screen, and then also activate a shortcut. And so it's that shortcut feature there that really opens us up to not quite unlimited possibilities, but it will let you do way more than just the 9 features that Apple lists on the website. Now, I do want to point out in case you missed it, there's some haptic feedback involved, so you'll be notified when you actually kick it into silent mode. And really, let's be honest, that's necessary because with the old switch, when you silence something, there was a physical click. You knew that something happened. So with the feedback here in the haptic style, at least you'll still know. Now, personally, I'm looking at the Action button and I'm like, yeah, the camera access is cool, shortcuts is cool, you know, even something like flashlight if you want to do that, that's cool. But I really like that they included the focus modes, making that easy to jump into and out of different focus modes without even having to mess with any software. And yeah, you could do that with Siri as well, but just being able to click it when it's in your pocket, maybe you're talking to somebody and you want to get into a certain mode, do not disturb, that's gonna be really cool. As you know, if you took my productivity course, what you say no to is just as important as what you say yes to. So personally, I'm really looking forward to that. But if you're somebody who's like, well, how can I really push this feature to the max? You can do it probably the same way that people push the Action button on the Apple Watch Ultra to the max already. And that is, you could go out and create a shortcut that changes based on the time of day or maybe even your location. Something different ends up happening via shortcuts based on the context. Maybe if you're at work, it does something different than when you're at home. Or if it's between 10 and 11 a.m., it does something different than between 5 and 6 in the evening. Now, before we just get carried away talking about all the good stuff, all the hype surrounding this, let's also point out that there's gonna be several users out there who probably don't make the most of this, kind of just leave it on the default settings whenever they unbox this. I mean, for a certain set of the population who are used to the old way of doing things, don't like learning new stuff, you know, this switch may go underutilized. But there's absolutely no question, this little button will help people get more out of an iPhone experience. Absolutely. Just like my course, Learning to Build a Successful Side Hustle, will help you get more out of your skills, and my Learning to Be Productive course will help you get the most out of your time and your Apple ecosystem. You know what's really interesting about this Action button to me is that this is something that came from the Apple Watch line and migrated over to Apple's flagship product, the iPhone. Could it be that an iPhone Ultra coming next year, as has been rumored, would actually have a different design language, just like the Apple Watch Ultra has a different design language? Yeah, I think that sounds fairly plausible, but I also think that Apple made a conscious design decision here not to overemphasize this button. It's there, they talked about it, you can utilize it, but they didn't want it to stand out too much because it only does what it does. And on the first edition of the Apple Watch Ultra, it was really talked about like it was some big deal, and it sticks out because it's bright orange, right? You can't not see it. On the iPhone Pros here, you can not see it. You can gloss right over it. I think one really interesting use case for this, using shortcuts, would be an orientation lock. If you can't stand it, that you can't just have it lock when you rotate it, maybe you're kind of laying on the couch or something. You know, it's little things like that that'll give you more control over your iPhone experience that I think a lot of customers are really going to appreciate. There's this feeling floating around in the wider tech world that iPhones aren't very customizable, that you can customize things more on the Android side of things. And something like this goes a long way towards helping Apple users feel like they're getting the no-hassle Apple experience. And there's reasons why things are designed the way they are, why things work and look the way that they are. But still, you can do things the way that you want to as well. So this moves us in that direction in a positive way. So here's the big payoff. If you think about it, the silent switch doesn't really disappear. It changes shape, it changes form, but that functionality is still exactly where it always was. It's just that that particular area of the phone now does so much more. That's it for this particular feature. I'm gonna do lots of deep dives today. Make sure to check out my course. Make sure to check out the Clips channel where I'm really gonna be going through all the announcements with a fine-tooth comb. Can't wait to see you there. Catch you in the next video.